Generally, the rule of thumb is it depends on what the employer is asking for, but always make it straight to the point. So if I see a CV that has double or triple spacing, just some people think that the length of the CV matters. And so you have double spacing throughout. Sometimes it's all capital letters throughout. I've seen a CV, red font, all caps. Makes no sense. So my name is Esi Ansah, and I run a company called Access Human Capital Limited. And we work with employers and potential, employees in areas of recruitment, coaching, helping people with their CVs, bios. We do corporate training and organizational development generally. A resume is actually the French word for summary, résumé. And that really means no matter how much experience you have, you capture it very succinctly. And a CV is curriculum vitae. And this is from the Latin term currere. And this is the course of your life. So everything you've done. So a CV generally is longer, more comprehensive. And the resume is shorter. Now, in the US, for example, the preference is a resume. Here on the continent of Africa and generally in European circles, etc., the CV is the norm. And so it really depends on who or which company you're applying, you're sending your CV to, and what they require. Generally, the rule of thumb is it depends on what the employer is asking for, but always make it straight to the point. I've seen 11-page CVs with no substance, and I've seen 2-page resumes with a lot of substance. So it's the quality, not the quantity. 2 key things to always remember. Consistency is everything. And so for a CV to be decent, the first thing is the quality of the content. So when I see your CV, you should have not just described the things you've done over time, but you should quantify the value that you added. And so it's not enough to say, for example, worked as a sales assistant in shop XYZ. If you say, worked as a sales assistant in shop XYZ and boosted sales by 20% within 3 months, then it's telling me not just what you did, but the value that you can add. If you don't have anything to quantify, then start psyching yourself up to realize that on my CV, I'm going to need to quantify things. So I need to be productive. I need to track my data so I can quantify things on my CV. So the quality of the actual content, the substance is important. And then second, the branding, the formatting. It's one of the things that I'm quite picky about. So if I see a CV that has double or triple spacing, just some people think that the length of the CV matters. And so you have double spacing throughout. Sometimes it's all capital letters throughout. I've seen a CV, red font, all caps. Makes no sense. And so the formatting needs to be neat, simple, straight to the point. And importantly, it has to be consistent. So you shouldn't have a date format that says JUN, using the first 3 letters of the month. So JUN 2021. Then in another section, you use 06/04/21. Then in another section, you write it out in full. Consistency is everything. So whatever you're doing, you make sure that you're consistent throughout the entire document. And those are the little things that sometimes people don't pay attention to. Margins, the use of tabs. I realize a lot of Ghanaians love the use of tabs. So if I'm writing about my education, for example, I put down the year, and then I tab to move over to another space, and then I put down the institution, and then I tab and I put down my graduation date, for example. And if I list about 3 different institutions, the likelihood that the spacing between the tabs, is exact is very, very, very slim. It's not likely. So if you're not careful, you end up, when your reader is looking at the CV, they're moving across, zigzagging across. The lines are uneven, the margins are uneven, and people may not be too conscious of it. But if I have another CV that is good substance, straight to the point, neatly laid out, no typos, formatting is straight, I'll just pick that one. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. So if, let's say, you've never worked, what you can do is indicate some of the subjects you've studied in school, indicate some of the projects you've worked on. It's important for young people to explore and be able to show the extracurricular activities. If, let's say, you're in the photography club, then it tells me you picked up a certain skill. If you are an athlete, it tells me that you picked up the discipline that goes with the world of sports. And so it's okay to put extracurricular, information, school, clubs, initiatives that you may have started or joined. Maybe there was a community project you joined, and all those things are important. So it doesn't matter whether you are in, you're just graduating from junior or senior high. Whatever you have that can tell people how well you work and how they can entrust their work into your hands and that you do a good job, then you can put a CV together. Generally, the cover letter is supposed to introduce you. It's not a repetition of your CV. So whatever you have on your CV, education, etc., the cover letter is not the place to repeat it. In the cover letter, 1, you want to introduce yourself. 2, you want to tell them why you're a good fit, right? And so in a cover letter, I may start by, dear search committee, or sir or madam, I'm writing. I don't want to, speak for people to write verbatim. So I'm paraphrasing what should go in a cover letter. But I would generally start by referencing the job. So I'm writing in response to a job I saw posted on so-and-so website on so-and-so date, asking for the services of a monitoring and evaluation officer. And then you show them how you fit. And you may mention, for example, that I have prior experience, in monitoring and evaluation, and would invite you to take a look at my CV. Now, this is a good place where even if you don't have the work experience, this is where you sell yourself. One of the examples I like to use is of a young lady called Wendy, who applied for a job many years ago with us. And her cover letter was very simple and very strong. She went straight to the point, introduced herself, and mentioned that the job application asked for somebody who had finished their bachelor's degree. I do not have a bachelor's degree. However, all the things you are asking for, I can do. And that made me take an interest in her, so I invited her. She came for an interview, etc. Somebody else got the job, but it wasn't because she didn't have the bachelor's degree. She had a lot of skill, etc., and that didn't hold her back. So your cover letter is where you sell yourself. That's where you tell the person that, look, I'm a good person for this role. Don't repeat your CV. Make it memorable. Make it memorable if, for example, you have an anecdote. It shouldn't be long, by the way. And so one tiny paragraph of, let's say, 3 lines, and then you have an anecdote of, I may not have experience in this particular role. However, I have worked with my mother in her shop as a bookkeeper, and I helped design her flyers and managed to raise her sales. You may be thinking, oh, it's just my mother's shop in Makola, so it wasn't anything formal. But you're telling the employer that you have skills that you picked from there. And so even though you do not have maybe the qualification or the number of years of work experience they're asking for, you have the skills. And in HR, we're looking more for the competency, what the person can do, rather than just the degree. Because now there are so many people on the market with a degree. So it's who can do the job and do it well. one of the things that I can't stand, and which shows a lack of being conscientious enough, is when people apply for jobs and they just attach the CV. That's it. So you may send the CV, your email, which has your CV attached and just says job application. That's it. Sometimes there's no hello, there's no, there's nothing. It's just the CV has been sent to you or has been uploaded onto the website, and that's it. Other times, the CV and the cover letter may be sent, but is addressed to the wrong employer. So perhaps you applied for a job with Shell Ghana, and then the CV comes to me, or the cover letter comes to me, and it says, "Dear Manager, Shell so-and-so company." And so I knew it wasn't addressed to me. You were just, handing the same letter around, and it just happened to come to me. It tells me you don't pay attention to detail. It tells me if I hire you and you're supposed to send out letters on behalf of the company, for example, you will mix things up. So your CV and your cover letter serve as great opportunities to let people see the quality that you can deliver. Right? So if you have typos on your CV, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in hiring you. Mainly because I need you to be able to write without me rewriting everything that you do. Right? So those two documents are very important, and you should always have it updated, and always have a copy of your CV in your email. You might be job hunting and you meet somebody on your way home from school, work, wherever, and they say, "Oh, you're looking for a job, send me your CV." This is not the time to go and sit down and, "Oh, I'm not sure where it is, I can't find." Always email it to yourself. Make sure it's updated. And every time you update it, email it to yourself so that it's always sitting somewhere. And you want to use the proper email addresses. I see things like Sexy Mama 101, Big Daddy 405 as email addresses that people use. It has to be professional. It should have your name. If for any reason I can't remember your name and I'm looking through the email section in the database, if I see Big Daddy 405, I don't know who that is. But if I see kwabnanyakon@gmail, then that's a good trigger, that this is so-and-so's CV. So it's important to pay attention to little things like that. So number one, the job search is a job in itself. So you need to demonstrate diligence in and being thorough in your job search. You should have a spreadsheet where you've put down, or a notebook or somewhere, I don't know where you put it, somewhere where you've tracked on so-and-so date, I applied to so-and-so job, I submitted it, this is where I saw it, etc., etc. So when you are called, you don't say, hello, please, which job is this? No. So track it. It's a full-time job. You can't outsource your job search. I see a lot of young people do that. And so they'll take their CV, give it to a friend, a brother, a mother, somebody, and then they just sit back and expect that other people are looking for them. Don't outsource the job search. It's a job in itself, so do it fully, diligently. And it's important to pay attention to, these days, because we're doing everything virtually. Interviews are virtual. And so don't take it for granted and think, oh, but they know I'm home, so it's an interview. In my t-shirt, my hair is unkempt and it's okay. No, it's not okay. Professional all the time, because you want to tell them, this is my best and this is how I will represent your organization if I'm to join. So we recruit students for some of our clients, especially during the long vacation. So some clients may approach us and say, hey, I need some fresh graduates or I need some interns, and so we'll do the recruitment for them. We offer CV review services, and so these days we do them virtually. We used to do them in person. So we get on the Zoom, share the screen, and then walk you through it. And we help with, just coaching. Sometimes you might have somebody who's gone for job interview after job interview and nothing seems to be working out. And so we may sit down and have a chat and do an audit of your search processes. How have you been job hunting, where, etc. And usually we'll we'll end up discovering what it is that might be holding you back, and then offer whatever support we can. So we work with young people, we work with senior managers, we recruit from interns all the way to the C-suite, senior managers. So our website would be a good place to start. It's axis, like the Earth's axis, or X and Y axis. So it's AXIS HCL. The H is for human, C is for capital, L is limited. So axishcl.com. Our phone numbers are there. We're on social media, so Facebook, Twitter, and then LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn group. So we post jobs, especially the jobs that require the demographic that we will find on social media. So we're looking for software developers who are just out of school, for example. You find our job ads on social media. So we use all those platforms and people can connect with us through that.